Aadhaar Pay, a merchant version of Aadhaar-enabled payment system, will be launched shortly. This will especially be beneficial to those who do not have debit cards, mobile wallets, or mobile phones. A mission will be set up with a target of 2,500 crore digital transactions for 2017 and 18 through UPI, USD, Aadhaar Pay, IMPS debit cards. Banks have targeted to introduce additional 10 lakh new POS terminals by March 2017. They will be encouraged to introduce 20 lakh Aadhaar-based POS by September 2017. Increased digital transactions will enable small and micro enterprises to access formal credit. Government will encourage SIDBI to refinance credit institutions which provide unsecured loans at reasonable rates to borrowers based on their transaction history. The digital payment infrastructure and grievance handling system shall be strengthened. The focus will be on rural and semi-urban areas through post office, fair price shops and banking correspondence. Steps would be taken to promote and possibly mandate petrol pumps, fertilizer depots, municipalities, block offices, road transport offices, universities, colleges, hospitals and other institutions to have facilities for digital payment, including the BHIM app. A proposal to mandate all government received through digital means beyond a prescribed limit is under consideration. Strengthen the Financial Inclusion Fund to augment resources for taking up these initiatives. Government will consider and work with various stakeholders for early implementation of the interim recommendations of the Committee of the Chief Ministers on Digital Transactions. The Committee on Digital Payments, constituted by the Department of Economic Affairs, has recommended structural reforms in the payment and ecosystem, including payments, amendments to the Payment and Settlements System Act 2007. Government will undertake a comprehensive review of this Act and bring about an appropriate amendment. To begin with, it is proposed to create a payment regulatory board in the Reserve Bank of India by replacing the existing Board of Regulations and Supervision of the Payment and Settlement Systems. Necessary amendments are proposed to this effect in the Finance Bill 2017. As we move faster towards the path of digital transaction and check payment, we need to ensure that payees of dishonored checks are able to realize their payments. Therefore, government is considering the option of amending the Negotiable Instruments Act suitably. I now turn to public service. Our focus here is on effective government and efficient service delivery. We have made a strong beginning with regard to the direct benefit transfer to the LPG and the kerosene consumers. Chandigarh and 8 districts of Haryana have become kerosene free. 84 government schemes have been boarded on the DBT platform. The government's e-marketplace, which is now functional for procurement of goods and services, has been selected as one of the winners of the South Asian Procurement Innovation Awards of the World Bank. Our citizens in far-flung regions of the country find it difficult to obtain passports and redress passport-related grievances. We have decided to utilize the head post office as a front office for rendering passport service. Our defense forces keep the country safe from both external and internal threats. A centralized defense travel system has now been developed through which travel tickets can be booked online by our soldiers and officers. They do not have to face the hassle of standing in a queue with the railway warrant. A comprehensive web-based interactive pension distribution system for defense pensioners will be established. This system will receive pension proposals and make payments centrally. This will reduce the grievance of the defense pensioners. At present, our citizens, especially those belonging to the poor and unprivileged society, go through cumbersome procedures of government recruitment. There are multiplicity of agencies and examinations. We therefore propose to introduce a system of registration and a two-tier system of examination. Over the years, the number of tribunals have multiplied with overlapping functions. We propose to rationalize the number of tribunals by merging tribunals wherever appropriate. In the recent past, there have been instances of big-time offenders. And Madam, this is an important announcement. In the recent past, there have been instances of big-time offenders, including economic offenders, fleeing the country to escape the reach of law. We have to ensure that the law is allowed to take its course. Government is therefore considering introduction of legislative changes and even a new law to confiscate the assets of such persons located within the country till they submit to the jurisdiction of the appropriate legal forum. Needless to say, all necessary constitutional safeguards will be followed in this regard. Our government will continue to remain committed to improve the standards of public service and transparent governance. Service to the people was a lifelong commitment of the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi. As we approach the 150th birth anniversary of the Mahatma, we will take steps to celebrate it in a befitting manner. A high-level committee under the chairmanship of the Prime Minister is proposed to be set up for the same. We also will commemorate a centenary year of the Champaran Satyagraha this year. Government of India will support the government of Gujarat to commemorate the 100 years of the Sabarmati Ashram in 2017 in a befitting manner. 200 years ago, in 1817, a valiant uprising of the soldiers led by Bakshi Jagabandhu took place in Khordha of Orissa. We will commemorate the same appropriately. I now turn to the fiscal situation in the country. In the context of the budget 2017-18. The total expenditure of the budget 2017-18 has been placed at rupees 21,47,000 crores. With the abolition of the planned non-planned classification of expenditure, the focus is now on revenue and capital expenditure. I have stepped up the allocation of capital expenditure by 25.4% over the previous year. This will have a multiplier effect and lead to higher growth. The total resources being transferred to the states and the union territories with legislature is rupees 4.11 lakh crores as against 3.6 lakh crores in the BE of 2016-17. Details of allocations for important sectors and schemes and transfer resources to the states are given in an annexure to my speech. I have made a provision of rupees 3,000 crores under the Department of Economic Affairs to implement various budget announcements and other new schemes for 2017-18. For defense expenditure, excluding pensions, I have provided, I repeat, for defense expenditure excluding pensions, I have provided a sum of rupees 2,74,114 crores, including 86,488 crores for defense capital. I have increased the allocation for scientific ministries to rupees 37,435 crores in 2017-18. For the first time, a consolidated outcome budget covering all ministry departments is being laid along with other budget documents. This will improve the accountability of the government expenditure. The FRBM Review Committee has given its report recently. The committee has done an elaborate exercise and has recommended that sustainable debt path must be the principal macroeconomic anchor of our fiscal policy. The committee has favored a debt to GDP of 60% for the general government by 2023 consisting 40% for the central government and 20% for the state governments. Within the framework, the committee has derived and recommended 3% fiscal deficit for the next 3 years. The committee has also provided for an escape clauses for deviations up to 0.5% of the GDP from the stipulated fiscal deficit target. Amongst the triggers for taking recourse to these escape clauses, the committee has included far-reaching structural reforms in the economy with an unanticipated fiscal implication as one of the factors. Although there is a strong case now to invoke this escape clause, I am refraining from doing so.